Mara sits at the corner of the crowded mess hall, her tray untouched, and her eyes scanning the room with calm precision. The chatter around her rises and falls like waves crashing against unseen rocks, but she is unmoved. She senses everything, the subtle glances, the shifting weight of the soldiers, the quiet tension between groups across the hall. Each sound is catalogued in her mind, each movement noted and analyzed. She knows the patterns of behavior that mark aggression, and she knows the signs of hesitation. The soldiers are loud, boisterous, and careless in their assumptions. They see her small frame and her solitary posture, and they draw conclusions based on appearances. Mara senses their approach before it happens, a subtle change. In the energy around her, a brief pause in conversation, a shifting of feet closer. She watches them cross the hall, each step deliberate from her point of view, yet blind to the storm building around them. They laugh amongst themselves, making crude jokes about how easy this will be, and Mara lets them believe they are in controls. Remembers her training, the endless drills, the early mornings, the cold water exercises. The hours spent perfecting her skills until they are instinct, she recalls. The missions she has completed, the impossible tasks she has survived, and the countless nights she has slept in places where the slightest mistake could cost her life. Every memory sharpens her focus, every recollection strengthens her resolve. She is not the girl they think she is, and they are about to discover that in the most shocking way possible. Soldiers move closer now, their voices growing louder. Mara senses the edges of danger brushing against her awareness, the one closest to her makes a comment and laughs. Mara responds only with a tilt of her head and a small, controlled breath. Her eyes flicker with an intensity that hints at storms below the surface. They interpret her calm as fear or submission, and their confidence grows. She watches them lean in too close, underestimate her presence, and Mara calculates every angle of escape and advantage. And the mess hall is oblivious, unaware of the imminent confrontation. The cooks shuffle between tables. The smell of food filling the air, a mundane normalcy masking the tension that Mara feels like a current running through the room. She knows that in moments, everything could change in a blink, and she positions herself accordingly, every muscle ready for sudden action. She recalls how even small details matter, how a tray left in the wrong place, a chair moved slightly can change outcomes in ways most people cannot anticipate. One soldier reaches out a hand toward her shoulder, and Mara moves with precision. Unseen to the untrained eye, her response is immediate, controlled, and decisive in a way that freezes the other soldiers for a heartbeat. They stumble slightly, the room still unaware, but Mara knows she has already changed the equation. They thought it would be simple. They thought it would be funny, and now they are confronting the consequences of misjudgment. Mara steps slightly back, a controlled retreat, drawing them in the way she has been trained to manipulate movement. She is aware of every surface, every edge, every object she could use to her advantage. Her mind runs through scenarios faster than the soldiers can react, faster than anyone in the room can perceive. She is calm, she is methodical, and she is deadly in her competence. They cannot see it yet, but the balance of power has shifted completely. The tension rises, and Mara senses the subtle cues that reveal who among the soldiers will hesitate and who will act rashly. She observes the tightening grip of one man's fist, the nervous glance of another, the barely suppressed smirk that masks uncertainty. She catalogues each behavioral sign, each physical cue, and she knows exactly when and how to move. Her entire body is attuned to the situation. Her instincts sharpened too. A razor edge through years of grueling preparation, the soldiers continue to press forward, oblivious to the signs. They are missing every indicator. Mara gives off every subtle shift in posture, every tiny flicker in her eyes. They are confident in their dominance in the mess hall and their assumptions about her. She does not correct them, yet she waits. Patient, calculating the moment to turn the tables, waiting for the precise instant. When their arrogance becomes their undoing, the sounds of The mess hall blur into a background hum Mara hears but does not focus on the laughter of friends or the clatter of trays. She focuses on the immediate threat, the soldiers encircling her, the silent tension building between movement and counter. Movement, her mind races through sequences of action, options, possibilities, outcomes. She visualizes every possible path they could take and how she will respond, each scenario with exactitude honed through years of training. She anticipates each reaction before it occurs. Mara remembers her instructors, the endless repetition of scenarios, the insistence on mastery, the drills that pushed her to physical and mental limits. She recalls the sweat and pain, the exhaustion and the fear that was never allowed to show. She recalls how each trial was designed to create precision control, and how every experience led to this moment, the moment where she is underestimated and unseen as the force she truly is. One soldier laughs, a loud, boisterous laugh, and Mara lets it echo in the hall. She lets them think that she is weak, that she is intimidated. She measures the distance between them, notes the shift in posture, each micro-movement. Her breathing is controlled, her stance relaxed but poised, ready for instantaneous action, every fiber of her being prepared for what is coming yet. She remains silent, calculating the exact sequence that will unfold. Soldiers close in, unaware of the storm waiting beneath her calm exterior. They move with the certainty of assumed dominance, the certainty of mistaken perception. Mara senses the change in momentum. It's a subtle shift in energy that signals they're closing in. She tightens her awareness, focusing on the immediate space, on the room, on the objects and people around her, ready to use everything as necessary to protect herself and assert control. The air around Mara seems to thrum with tension. She moves imperceptibly, shifting her weight to prepare for the first decisive action. She is aware of the sounds of the hall, the murmurs of nearby tables, the scrape of chairs, the footsteps of soldiers approaching, and she integrates all of it into a complete picture in her mind. She knows exactly where she stands, and she knows exactly what the consequences of hesitation could be. They lean closer. She feels the surge of adrenaline, a familiar sensation, the sharpening of perception, the heightened awareness that comes when life demands instant action. She smiles slightly inside the calm exterior, knowing that the moment they cross a line, she will move with precision, with force, with the skill that is her birthright as a Navy SEAL. Underneath their mockery and threats, she feels the silent pulse of inevitability, that their assumptions about her will be their downfall. Mara remains in place, still and seemingly fragile, but every thought in her mind is strategy, every motion potential energy, every breath measured. She waits for the exact instant, the moment when action becomes necessary, and she is ready to transform from a silent observer into the decisive force that no one in the hall suspects exists. Mara steps back, her movements controlled, deliberate, as the soldiers encircle her like predators, unaware that the prey they have targeted is in fact the most dangerous among them. She observes their postures, their grips, the subtle hesitations in their motions as they assume the advantage, but fail to notice the calculations running silently through her mind. Every slight shift of their weight, every glance exchanged between them, she notes and files for the precise moment when she will act. Her training takes over, instinct and reflex merging into one seamless flow of awareness and capability. She feels the room in its entirety, the placement of tables, chairs, the trays of food, the objects scattered across the hall, all potential tools or obstacles in her mind. She aligns herself with the space, each movement a calculated measure, ensuring that every action she takes will be decisive and complete. One of the soldiers leans forward, laughing a loud, overconfident laugh, and reaches for her shoulder as if daring her to respond. Mara waits until his hand is within the exact distance she has calculated, her muscles coiled like springs, ready to release. She pivots with explosive speed, redirecting his momentum, using his own weight against him. He stumbles forward, crashing into the nearest table, sending trays and plates clattering across. The floor of the mess hall erupting in shocked gasps. The other soldiers hesitate, their confidence faltering as they begin to realize that Mara is far from the easy target they assumed. She uses this moment of hesitation to her advantage, stepping fluidly between them, controlling the space like a predator guiding prey toward predetermined positions. Each motion precise, deliberate, calculated to create imbalance, confusion. Fear Mara strikes with speed and accuracy, the culmination of years of grueling physical training combined with a mental acuity honed through countless missions. Her movements are a blur to anyone not trained to see the subtleties. She redirects one man's attack, using leverage and timing. Another finds himself stumbling backward onto a chair that tips under him. Mara remains calm, centered, fully in control, while chaos erupts around her. The mess hall is no longer just a place for eating. It becomes a battlefield, but one in which Mara has complete command. The soldiers begin to understand that their assumptions about her were dangerously wrong. Their attempts to surround her become ineffective as she moves with a combination of speed and strategy that leaves them off balance, confused, unable to predict her next action. She uses their overconfidence against them, exploiting every mistake with precision and efficiency. Her eyes scan constantly, each movement measured, each breath controlled. She anticipates the next action before it occurs, visualizing every possible scenario and responding instantly there. Aggression is met with counters, so swift and subtle that each soldier begins to question his own perception of reality. The room seems to slow around her, every motion deliberate, every strike calculated, the outcome inevitable. Mara's voice remains calm, if it emerges at all, a low measured sound warning the soldiers to cease their aggression, but also revealing nothing of the power she wields silently. The others can see the physical manifestation of her skill, yet cannot comprehend the depth of training that underlies every motion. They are forced into defensive positions without understanding the reason. Mara controls the flow of the confrontation without effort, as if she is conducting an invisible symphony of motion and reaction. The air is thick with tension, the scattered trays, the overturned chairs, the shocked murmurs of bystanders who now realize the seriousness of the situation. Mara remains fully aware of everyone in the room, using peripheral vision, intuition, and experience to control not only the immediate threat, but also the surrounding environment. Every movement she makes is designed to end the confrontation quickly and decisively, while maintaining control over the chaos. She redirects another soldier who lunges toward her, spinning his momentum against him, sending him stumbling into a wall. The impact is controlled, preventing serious injury, yet the shock leaves him dazed, unsure of how to respond. Mara steps closer to another aggressor, maintaining distance just enough to control the space while signaling dominance. Her presence alone sufficient to command attention and caution. Each second Mara gains, she uses to reset her position to ensure she maintains the tactical advantage. She manipulates the flow of movement around her, the soldiers unknowingly following patterns she has established, guiding them toward positions where they are most vulnerable. Her mind is a map of potential outcomes, every path assessed, calculated, and controlled. One soldier attempts to rally his comrades, confident that sheer numbers will overcome skill. Mara anticipates the strategy. She moves with precision, blocking the advance and redirecting momentum. She neutralizes the threat before it can materialize. Each reaction is fluid and instantaneous, leaving her opponents disoriented, unable to grasp the speed and accuracy of her responses. Bystanders now watch in awe as the truth becomes clear. The calm, poised woman they assumed was fragile is in fact a force unmatched in skill and precision. Every motion Mara makes conveys authority, confidence, and lethal potential. Though restrained, in control, she has the ability to dominate without cruelty, choosing restraint over unnecessary harm, every action measured to ensure safety while asserting total control. Her training in confined spaces now becomes an advantage. She uses the layout of the mess hall two-channel movement, guiding the soldiers into positions that limit their options and maximize her leverage. Each table, chair, and tray becomes part of a controlled environment she manipulates with expert awareness, every detail considered, every angle accounted for. Soldiers begin to hesitate, their earlier arrogance replaced by uncertainty, fear, and confusion. Their confidence erodes as they realize they are dealing with someone far beyond their understanding, someone capable of responding to any aggression before it even fully manifests. Mara observes the shift in energy, noting every falter, every lapse, every micro-expression that signals growing realization of their misjudgment. She moves with continuous fluidity, redirecting attacks, neutralizing threats, maintaining control. Her eyes never leave the room, scanning each individual for intent, readiness, and vulnerability. She anticipates the next sequence before it occurs, every motion in perfect sync with tactical precision, her body and mind united in flawless execution. Mara finally brings the confrontation to a controlled conclusion with a single series of movements that leaves the soldiers immobilized, uninjured, but utterly aware of their own limitations. She steps back, the room now quiet, the chaos subdued, the hall transformed into a space where the reality of her abilities is undeniable. The soldiers slowly realize the truth of the woman. They underestimated the Navy SEAL who has controlled the entire encounter without unnecessary violence or lost. The whispers spread through the mess hall, a mixture of awe and disbelief, the bystanders unable to fully comprehend. The skill and composure Mara displayed, her presence commands respect, not through threat, but through mastery, the demonstration of ability restrained by wisdom and experience. She walks calmly to her original seat, picking up her untouched tray, resuming her quiet demeanor as if nothing extraordinary has occurred. The soldiers remain frozen in position, each processing the lesson they have learned, the consequences of arrogance and assumption. They glance at one another, understanding without words that the person they thought they could intimidate has shown them a depth of skill and control beyond their comprehension. Mara sits down, her movements measured, her composure unwavering as the hall slowly returns to normal around her. Yet the impression of her presence lingers like a silent echo. Her mind remains alert, scanning the room, assessing potential residual threats, ensuring that the encounter is fully resolved. She is aware that appearances can deceive, and that the memory of this event will ripple through the soldiers, altering their perception not only of her, but of every interaction moving forward. She embodies the combination of discipline, precision, and restraint that defines her life and her training. As Mara eats, she reflects briefly on the encounter, noting small adjustments and observations for future scenarios. Every confrontation provides data, every movement a lesson, and she incorporates the experience seamlessly into her ongoing awareness. She is calm yet alert, the storm within controlled and measured, the balance of force and restraint perfected through years of rigorous training and lived experience. The soldiers finally regain the ability to move, exchanging sheepish glances, their earlier bravado replaced with humility. They understand the woman they tried to corner has not only defended herself, but done so with unmatched skill, leaving them to reflect on their assumptions and misjudgments. Mara finishes her meal, her presence a quiet yet powerful testament to mastery and controlled power in a world that often mistakes appearance for reality.